Based on the novel by Liz Moore, Long Bright River stars Amanda Seyfried and is coming to Peacock. It's a crime drama that's gritty and sad, but is it worth the watch? When a series of murders begins in the neighborhood, Philadelphia cop Mickey realizes that her personal history might be related to the case. Seyfried plays Mickey, a Philly cop who works in an area of the city that has rampant houselessness, prostitution, and drugs. Because she grew up in that area of town, she's got a personal connection, even knowing a lot of the women that she encounters on the street. When some murders share similar MOs, Mickey becomes overly invested in solving the case. Now, this also stars Nicholas Pinnock, O.T. the Real, Ashleigh Cummings, John Doman, Mihok, and Callum Vinson. This is an 8-episode limited series with all of the episodes dropping at once. Now, for the mystery portion, it's going to keep you guessing through a lot of it. You may even guess the answer right away, but the show does a great job of introducing viable alternatives that make sense. I appreciate that the story maintains the intrigue for so long, and with clever misdirections, it convolutes the elements without being cheap or lazy. Seyfried as Mickey is convincing at being an overly invested officer. She's not somebody that you'd necessarily expect to go into police work, so when she makes impulsive or dumb decisions that can place her in danger, they don't feel out of the realm of possibility. I like, too, how Seyfried portrays the character to be extremely affected by tragedy. She's not jaded or immune, giving her a bunch of compassion that then she gives to others, in an area where compassion and caring are really sparse or even non-existent. Now, Seyfried brings a rawness to Mickey, putting her on the ragged edge at times, forgoing rational behaviors, instead just becoming frantic in her search and pursuit, which then gives into her emotions and instinct rather than rule-following. But within the storytelling, the show has Mickey looking forlorn and staring off into the distance way too much. And this could actually be considered a character trait because of how often she's mournfully spacing out. Why she's doing it makes sense, but from a visual standpoint, it does get tiresome from all the repetition. This also makes it appear that the show is longer than it needs to be. Simply cutting out all the times that she blanks out could cut several minutes from each episode. And the time isn't the issue at all. The drama for the story is riveting, and because the arcs are filled with several intriguing and flawed characters, there's a bunch of variety within personas to keep everything flowing and engaging. Now, I like how much family is at the center of this story. We see several facets of Mickey's life and how all of those intertwine to build out not only her character, but that of her son. Small moments spread throughout the show make for huge impacts and ties with the characters. It's also wonderful to see uplifting and positive reinforcement mixed within all the hurting and horrors of the streets. The show balances this well, and that balance helps to keep the pace at a steadily growing rate. Seyfried shares some gut-wrenching and heartbreaking scenes with Ashleigh Cummings, examining generational hurts, familial betrayals, regret and grief, and also attempts at reconciliation. These moments are brutal to watch because the emotion is so palpable and real. And as more things come to light, the content gets more devastating. I love the growth we get to see through these strained conversations, but it's hard to watch in the moment. And this is something Mickey goes through with several of the other characters. As she deals with her own regrets and shame, she has to navigate how that affects her relationships. The situations are frustrating but believable, and they add captivating drama to the overall series. Conversations with her grandfather, her former partner, her landlord, even the women she knows on the streets, they all work to provide opportunities for growth while also building out arcs that connect us to the characters. I love that these don't have to be huge interactions either. Some are quiet exchanges that convey way more than just the words. And each actor brings a ton of emotional weight to their characters so that they're memorable, if nothing else. Now, I think the show does an excellent job at presenting us with characters who at first glance look to be despicable. But after a while, we're given the opportunity to reevaluate them. And it's strange to see how some of my perceptions changed. I mean, the characters are dynamic. They may seem one-dimensional when first introduced, but in reality, they're extremely complex, adding a ton of realism to the show because while we may not be able to exactly relate to the situations, having characters who are flawed but attempt change can be very relatable. There are a couple of mysteries that are focused on within the show, and while they all do intersect and aren't tangents, one of the arms of the central mystery becomes uninteresting and shallowly examined, despite it being a main driver within the mystery. I liked the complications a missing person and their boat bring to the story, but the resolution and payoff for this, it's not as satisfying as I thought it might be, given that it's an integral portion to a plot point. And it gets a fair amount of storytelling attention, too. Now, I haven't read the novel by Liz Moore, but she served as co-creator, writer, and executive producer for the series. So I'm sure that any differences the series made in the adaptation, Moore was involved or gave approval. And while it may be different in spots, the series is taut, stressful, sad, and compelling. Amanda Seyfried is stellar in the lead, creating a raw and vulnerable persona that oozes both empathy and justice while forging through her own traumas. The rest of the cast create layered, flawed, and complex characters that enhance the mystery and keep the pace steadily driving. The mystery should keep you guessing thanks to several misdirections and clever storylines. And while there are too many forlorn looks from Seyfried that don't progress the storytelling, the depth of the themes and the commitment to showcase people as human rather than throwaways makes for indelible and haunting storytelling. There's sex, no nudity, a ton of profanity, and a bunch of violence, including sexual assault. I give Long Bright River 4.5 out of 5 couches. So have you seen any gritty crime dramas lately that are worth recommending? I'd love to hear about them in the comments below. If you enjoyed this review, please give it a like. Also, don't forget to share and subscribe. I'm Chris. This is Movies and Munchies. Thanks for couching with me.